question everything else that Grandpa Jack says. You know why? Because he's full of bazooka. Grandpa Jack is full of Grandpa Jack is full of.
This photo has long been a source of inspiration to Daniel Naroditsky. Him with an idol of his, Vladimir Kramnik, back in 2008, Tal Memorial, Moscow, too shy to take the picture, but encouraged to do so by his mum, and that's how he got this snap here. Fast forward now, 16 years later, and it's now a source of sadness, because how things have turned. His once idol turned on him here in the most vicious way imaginable. This is Kramnik's X or Twitter, and once again he's going after another man's character and reputation. This time it's Daniel Naroditsky. Look at this pinned post as of an hour ago. It's the 21st of October, accusing Danya here, and yes, it's an accusation of chess cheating. No more charades, the gloves are off, all this hiding behind silly words and hypocritical lies. This is an accusation saying that Danya's making us ashamed, needs to find better excuses, stop lying, stop using the computer, stop looking away from the screen, stop acting like a Terminator is one of these videos down here, some random YouTube clip of the eyes. It goes on, different posts, absolute quagmire of crap here on Kramnik's X, and this has now gotten to the point of absolute farce, as if we weren't already there. But where are we headed with this video? Well, we're gonna have a look here at where this started, way back in the summer. 3 games here that many have never seen, and it's an increasing barrage of Kramnik spanking. The final one, just 11 moves. Absolutely love this. We're jumping to the first one. First, let's have a look at when they were played. July 15. All of these 3 in the same day, and they just get better and better. This is the first one we're going to pick up. Danya's playing black here. Sorry about my eyes, by the way. I'm allergic to Kramnik's BS, but no, actually there's some dust in my garage. I've been clearing it and my eyes are absolutely mangled. But now we're looking at some chess. Kramnik opens with his favourite. We're going to rattle through here. 3 to go. They're all fun. Danya loves these fianchetto systems. We get this standard position. Now the board's exploded with c4, and after takes, all normal. Now things get interesting with knight a3. Danya chucks the pawn. He loves being a bit tricky, changes the structure, c5, rook e1, knight c6, bishop b2, all looks normal, and now of course Danya goes for something tricky, queen b6. Hits the bishop, knight c4, defends and attacks at the same time, but not to be outdone, Danya slides, hits the undefended knight here. So the second knight hops, defends it, puts pressure on c6. These tactics now flowing, favouring the younger guy, right? We get takes on e5, knight takes back, and now bishop e6, developing, connecting those rooks. e4 sets up that massive centre, and after takes, pawn recaptures, the rook applying pressure here. The game explodes after pawn d5. The bishop is hit, yes, but you can't take it just yet. There's a pin on the queen here, and after the excellent knight to g4, all of the tactics are exploding. There's an immediate threat, of course, to win this piece. The bishop's undefended, and be careful of some of the tactics heading in this direction. So what does Kramnik do? His absolute best is actually bishop f1, and if you chase the queen to b6, then there's bishop d4 intercepting this diagonal, but not played. Knight d3 selected, and now Danya finds a tactical shot here. You can see the reaction of the Stock Nest monster. Black has a tactical shot. Very well done if you saw. Knight takes on f2. An immediate bishop takes was also working. And the point is, all the pieces are overloaded. king takes was played. If knight takes, the bishop drops here. If bishop drops in between, no time, you lose an entire queen. So king takes was played in the game. Now we see bishop takes on b2, knight recaptures, and simple tactics for guys of this level. You pick up that loose knight because of the exposed king, and you still can't take the bishop. The pawn is pinned. So queen b3, and I love this. Danya doesn't try and force the issue. Takes the queens off, he's a pawn to the good, saves his bishop, and he's got this 2-on-1 here. A kind of dream Grunfeld endgame, plus he's leveling the centre of the board on pawns. So Kramnik gets pushing, wants to open his bishop, advance in the centre. This is how the game proceeded. Excellent technique from Danya. A pair of rooks leave the board. He gets active with the rook here. Could have brought his. Kramnik could have, but then a4 comes, I guess. This is the problem. So king d4 played. This king marches. Bishop f1. Rook c2. And look at the state of these pawns. But Danya doesn't even collect. He could do so. He goes here, keeping an eye on the counterplay. The kings could step here. Looks natural. Then the pawn drops. Instead, Kramnik goes for the active move. This is what the top guys do, even at the expense of a pawn here, but now he invades. Check comes on the board. He now checks, comes behind this b pawn in just a moment, or a pawn rather, and then gets his own ones running through the centre, but Danya's got it worked out right. This rook comes across, these ones running. This is how the game proceeds here. And after these final moves, Danya just showing expert technique. Kramnik chucking a pawn, low on time. We now see resignation here after king g6, or f6 rather. That's why I've given it the exclam. So we know it's the final move. And what to do, you know, you can move the rook. Here's a sample line or take, whatever. This is completely lost. So this, game one, Danya takes it home. This is blitz, 3 minutes plus 2 seconds. Let's jump to this one now. The spankings just get worse here. Kramnik not happy, never played him again after this. These were their last games in the summer. We get a Roy Lopez here, named after J-Lo's uncle, as I mentioned the other day. All main line, but after castles inviting c3 here, the main move, Danya goes d4 immediately here, allowing this captures and then plunging forward in the centre. Very tricky variation. Black's fine, but only if you know what you're doing, which Kramnik does, of course. Pushes here, defends the centre, but then this is the point. You don't take back. You set up that massive queenside pawn avalanche, and after these ones reroute into the game, now we're going to see the queenside pawns running, but first you're about to get mated. So g6 blocks the way. Queen h6 played, b4 just snowballing over there. This knight comes back around, and that one running, marching, knight g3, knight e6, great defensive move. And now Danya rolls the dice with knight to f5, but he's not actually threatening mate. This knight covers, does a good job, and you can carry on pushing here. Keep the attack flowing. Make white show something. It is uncomfortable though. But what we see in the game is the absolutely atrocious g takes on f5. Who in their right mind plays that? Especially when you're a former world champion. Not sure what Kramnik was thinking. He's got like 2 minutes on the clock. He's getting 2 seconds a move. Bishop takes was played here, threatening mate. I mean, even if that wasn't checkmating, you're allowing a rook to lift in. What are you playing at? And now there's no way to stop it. Knight g5, the only one, but of course takes is played, and here we simply see resigns. Because if this one takes back, then you mate like this. If you take here, which is the top engine move, then you go for this one here. This can be played, and you have to actually give up the queen to stave off the mate. You're not long for this world. That was game number 2. Game number 3 gets even weirder. Let's jump to it now. It lasts just 11 moves. Daniel with white here plays a Jabava London with this bishop coming to f4, knight on c3, and after these standard looking opening moves, things get weird because Danya goes knight b5, loves playing the absolute trickiest moves, and here's the key point by the way. If queen a5 check, idea being you block, I take your piece here. Well, then you don't go c3, you play this b4 move. This is very, very awesome. And if queen captures, check, now c3, but you're playing it with tempo, supported by the knight, supported by the bishop, a great circle of pieces, and now you land the check, and white's doing well here, picking up the exchange, etc. Very weird line. So after knight b5, instead we see bishop takes, this one recaptures with check, this knight blocks the way here, c4 played, takes, and now do we get recaptures? No. Daniel loves to just chuck pawns, attack. This is why he's such a devilish blitz player. Kramnik carries on munching here, and still he doesn't recapture. He plays takes on d5. Pawn recaptures, knight e5 here, and on move 11, Kramnik just disconnects the game here, forfeits it therefore, and loses. Why? I don't know. This was the third in a row. He's getting absolutely spanked. This one's not even so clear. You know, you can take. Here's one of the top lines of the engine. Not actually taken immediately. Don't know why. Maybe you run into some knight e4 stuff or something. This is how the game can go. And the key point is that you do some kind of random alien gambit malarkey, and the king gets driven out despite being the piece down. There's this massive hunt which can ensue. The king struggles to find safety. As usual, the engine does it with like a million checks. This is the kind of thing that can happen. Okay, not played. This the final position here. Those are the last games they ever played. Since then, Kramnik's gone on to now accuse Danya left, right and centre. But go and have a look at the podcast that Danya's just done with Chess with Must Reader. Really, really nice account of himself that Danya gives. And in my opinion, what can we say about Vladimir Kramnik anymore but this?
To question everything else that Grandpa Jack says. You know why? Because he's full of... Grandpa Jack's full of... Grandpa Jack is full of...
Thanks very much for watching. Do hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.